Yeah.
It's okay. Hey, good morning, Facebook. We are here live on Friday morning Life Inspired Stories. I'm Diane Bennett with Remax 100 and Inspired Homes, and our guest today is Pastor Johnny Merritt. We are delighted to have you for your story.
All right.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited about being here for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, so a couple housekeeping issues. First, I just want to say happy birthday to my sweet little sissy. Her birthday's tomorrow, and I miss you gobs and gobs and gobs, and been praying for you all week to have the most wonderful 22nd birthday tomorrow. And for those who are watching that have never seen Life Inspired before, I want you to know what Life Inspired Stories are all about. It's basically life was going along, and there was some kind of ... moment in your life that kind of changed your trajectory, your direction, whatever, and now you're walking an inspired life and following God. And what does that look like? So Johnny has lots of stories. Johnny is a former pastor from another church out of state, and has a really cool story how you got called here to be the chaplain at Gurley Leap, and now you've started the Bethel Church of the Word here in town.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so story before the dots. What's your first background story?
Well, married at the time. I have 7 children, and so we were kind of going along. I was a pastor actually here before I moved to the South.
Here in the South Bend area.
Yeah, here in the South Bend area, and went through a divorce. Went through some different things, but before the divorce, there was a separation, and then during that time of separation, that's when I cried out to God to save my family. I was like, Lord, if you'll save my family, I'll give you my life. And so I was up in my father's room because I was separated from my wife at the time, and as I was praying, I literally felt what felt like hands come down and grab me, and grab my hands. I knew in that moment, even though I wasn't living a life separated to God. I was living my own life the way that I wanted to live. I knew in that moment something had changed in my heart.
Wow.
Wasn't going to church, but I knew the church had come inside of me.
Wow.
But I didn't know how to express. I didn't know what it was at that time because I was brand new, and I still didn't go to church even after that moment for I don't know how long, maybe 3 months or so. But I knew I was saved. I didn't know the word at the time that I was saved, but I knew that God had gotten a hold of me somehow, and so that began a journey. And then when I eventually gave my life to Christ, it started changing everything. My joy, the peace that I had, and just the job, the doors that were opening and the blessings that were coming happened. But then while I'm pastoring, situation came up again with my marriage, and ended up in divorce. And so I went from doing everything with my family, and I was a pastor at the time, and went through this horrible divorce. But again, in that moment, I was born again, so to speak.
So can I just ask, was it harder? I mean, I think divorce is just really difficult on anyone that goes through it, but because you're now a pastor, was it harder because you're like, well, if anybody's not supposed to get divorced, I'm not supposed to?
Exactly. That's what I fought with. That's what I dealt with.
Okay.
Here I am, the man of God, a pastor, and it's like, Lord, how did this happen? I love you.
Right.
I'm obedient to you. I serve you. But I didn't realize it was all about I, and I was focusing on me, and what I felt like I was doing right, and how could this wrong? This isn't supposed to happen. I'm a pastor, and then Lord, how was this going to look to other people? And I felt so ashamed, and so it was one of the absolute worst times of my life, because probably the worst time of my life, because not only did I lose my marriage at the time, but I lost my children, I lost my family, I lost everything, lost my home, everything was gone.
Right.
Just like that. And it was very, very hard to take, to a point where I started to get offended with God. But
I've never done that. Just kidding.
But I got
yelled at him in the car a few times, and sometimes in the house.
Yeah. And I was so upset and so hurt and so ripped and torn, because there were so many involved in this. Divorces, it affects everybody.
Oh, right.
From top to bottom. And so it ripped my heart out. But in that time, the Lord spoke to me, and he he filled me with his love and his compassion, and he showed me, he said, the worst things that ever happened to you are the best things that happen in you.
Wow. Wait. Say that again.
The worst things that happen to you can be the very best things that happen in you.
Wow.
And so that's when he began to turn my woundedness into a womb for his glory. And
Wow.
And so God began to show me that I was more focused on my spiritual resume and how my points and my marks as a good Christian. And I wasn't in love with him as much as I was in law with him. It was about law and not love. And God began to show me through this breaking, through this completely ripping me down, that I wasn't as spiritual as I thought I was.
Sure.
I wasn't as righteous
Sure.
as I thought I was. And so, but it changed everything, and it catapulted my life into another glory, which now I'm remarried and will never have to get married again. And I have the perfect, when I say perfect wife, not perfect as a person, but perfect for me.
Right.
And
Your
who God
pieces.
who God has called to be with me. And so I ended up going down south I left in 2010.
Okay.
And we just moved back here in 2016. So
Right.
it hasn't been quite 2 years, and God has really, really shifted and turned everything around. Of course, we've started the church, Bethel Church of the Word. This past April, we got started doing Bible studies in our apartment, but then we kind of now have Sunday services where
Right.
we meet.
And where do you meet on Sundays?
The Holiday Inn over on Douglas.
On Douglas. Okay.
Yeah.
And so if somebody wanted to go to service this Sunday, they just go to the Holiday Inn, and there's going to be signs that say
Yeah,
Bethel
that
Church
points to
this
Bethel
way.
Church of the Lord. Now, this particular week, we won't be there. This particular Sunday, we're doing something else.
Okay.
Kind of a surprise for someone else. I can't say it on
Oh,
air.
okay.
But
I don't tell anybody.
But yeah, every Sunday following, we'll be over there at the Holiday Inn, 10 o'clock. There'll be signs that point you. We're in the Cedar Room.
And do you have like a Facebook page that we
We
can
have
link?
we have a Facebook page.
Okay.
Yeah.
So TJ's going to link that so you guys can find it online.
Yeah.
So your moment from this part of the story was the divorce.
Yeah.
And then you've been following Christ and falling in love with God is your inspired part. But I want just a little bit, if you don't mind sharing, how you came to Girly Leap, because Tim Alley tells me this is a really great story.
Yeah.
So can you share just a little bit about that too?
Yeah, definitely. Tim, such a good friend, and I've known Tim since we both worked at Enterprise. It's been well over 16 years
Right.
at least. But I was living in South Carolina, and this was probably a couple of years before I even came back here. And he said, "Hey, man, there's a position open as a chaplain, and I think you would be the perfect fit." And I'm like, "I don't know about that, bro, but I'll think about it, and maybe we'll do it." And so we had planned on moving here, possibly, to take that position and turn that new chapter and plan a ministry, but things didn't work out, so we weren't able to come for like a full year after he told me that the position was open. And so I'm thinking that's long gone now.
Right.
There's nothing to that. Then he ends up calling me again and saying, "Look, that position is still open. It's available if you want to. If that's something, I know you're thinking about moving here. So hey, it's here." And so things kind of worked out. I flew over here, had an interview with Mike Leap Jr. Interview went great. We prayed. He hired me there. He told me I was hired and got a start date. Just seemed like one thing.
Dee Dee, we're moving to South Bend.
We're moving to South Bend, and it just happened to work out, and it's been great. And working for Girly Leap has been an awesome experience. Great people to work for, great company who love God.
And what does a chaplain for a company like Girly Leap do? What is your day-to-day job as chaplain at Girly Leap?
It's really there for spiritual support. If there's someone they have prayer requests, or if there's someone that needs a family member visited, that we have employees that may get sick, that we need to go visit or pray for. Like I said, we did a funeral.
Right.
Had to do a funeral, unfortunately, but those things happen. These are part of life's experiences, and then just there to kind of encourage people. Sales can be very stressful,
Right.
And there's a lot of hours spent in sales,
Right.
and so people need encouragement. They need a sounding board, and so it all varies depending on what the particular need is. So, yeah.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. So, okay, Facebook, you heard the story. So you can check out the website for Bethel Church of the Word, and they meet 10 o'clock on Sunday mornings, except for this coming Sunday, at the Holiday Inn on Douglas. So you can check out their website there. And if you've got questions or you want to talk to Pastor Johnny, I'm sure he would meet you for coffee. You can message us here.
Yep.
And so message us if you want to meet for coffee with Pastor Johnny. And also if you have stories like this that should be shared, we want to know about them. So message us here or email us at teaminspiredhomes.com. And we thank you for watching Facebook. Thanks for being here, Johnny.
Thank you.
All right, you guys have a great week, Facebook. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yay, you did great.